Alright, hello guys. In this video we are going to have a look at this mountain scene because I want to show you some techniques and workflows I've used when creating this. This is the final rendered image in VPR mode. I'm going to change it to shade it solid, and let's have a look at the mountain, and you will see that it's really very simple. I select the mesh landscape and I just set the subpatch display level to, let's say, 8, and maybe I go to wireframe mode. Okay, so an even lower resolution. The mesh looks like this. As you see, it's really simple. It's not a zebra sculpt or anything. I want to switch off the image texture as well. So you see, it's pretty lame looking, sort of. So I extruded patches here and there. Okay, so that's the base mesh, and I added a patch of a combination of rock textures I've photographed myself, but as you see, the texture is not very well executed, so it's just a very quick and dirty solution. Okay, but it works because I added displacement and snow texture, etc. Okay, so let's step forward. Let's see the displacement setup, and that's but I will change the sub patch level to 32, and I'm going to select the shaded mode, and yeah, and let's see the deform tab on the object properties panel. I have used this ordinary displacement map on the y-axis. The basis or the base texture is a dented texture. As you can see, the settings are almost the default. I guess the texture value is originally was 0.8. I changed it to 0.2 because at 0.8 we have these very sharp peaks. So yeah, and I also added another dent for this trench. The craft has made in the snow. Okay, but that's just a local dented texture subtracted from the original. I have used also a reference text null object for this, because if you move as you see, if I move the null, this trench is moving along with it. Okay, and also it's worth to notice the scale. As you see, the X on the X-axis, it's very long, and it also has been rotated, and there is a fall off, a cubic fall off. I wonder how does it look like if I change it to spherical. Well, it looks the same. Okay, so this is the displacement map, the axial displacement. but I have also used a nodal setup for the landscape. Edit nodes, and I pull over here the node editor. We don't need these, I don't know, these are just waste. I have used a normal displacement setup. So the normal vectors are scaled using a scale node, and we have two procedural texture input multiplied together. The first is a scalar. There is a dent, which is quite long on the x-axis. I don't know why, because I have done this a long time ago. And I also use a FBM noise with alpha, so the noise masks out. Let's see how does it look like if we switch this off. We have a very we have a disturbed high frequency noise, so the noise, the FBM noise with a higher value layer opacity will mask out this dented texture. Okay, so the second noise is just a mask, and the first dented texture is making the effect. But I have also added a turbulent noise, and let's see how does it look like if we I just plug it. Yeah, if I use only the scalar with the masked dent, then we have these sharp, jagged, protruding shapes. But if I replug, okay, it somewhat lessens the effect. So maybe if we set the opacity of this turbulent noise, maybe just 50. Yeah, it's a question of taste. So, but basically this is how the displacement was set up, and let's move on. I will show you now the snow texture, and the shader, the surface is very simple. As you see, I used a 100% diffuse with some bump, quite a few, actually 3 layers of bump, different procedural terrain, dented, FBM, and alpha, and etc. blah blah. But the more interesting thing is the gradient, where I have used the slope as an input parameter, because this slope parameter lets us create snow on the flat surfaces, and the steeper the surface becomes, the amount of snow is less, or the amount of color, because it's just I just demonstrate quickly. So below this point, this zone represents the steep area. So if I pull this key downward, I can cover the surface with this white color, and the higher I set, the less snow we have in the scene. Of course, if you prefer a gradient texture or effect, then you set this to linear, and then you have a soft gradient effect. So feel free to play with it and experiment. You can make a narrow band, etc. Okay, so that was the texture setup. Let's see the lights. It's also very simple. I have used high value for ambient and a strong area light, almost 200%, and it's slightly yellow. Okay, and the shadow color is also this grayish blue, quite dark value. Okay, and of course there is a radiosity in the scene with 3 bounces, Monte Carlo, and shading samples 3. The camera is it's very basic. All right, so thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.